So welcome to the Uncommon Talks.
So let me introduce our guest. Her name is Shaurya.gahlawat, and she is a trainee counseling psychologist. And she's not just a psychologist; she's more than that. She is an entrepreneur. She is a writer. She is a speaker. She has her own mental health page, and that is by the name of Therapy with Shaurya. She's also coming in the live video. So about her. So she has worked with the government of Haryana last year in the pandemic times. And then after that, and before that, so she has done her graduation from Hansraj College in marketing. And she has, after that, she went on to do her psychology from Christ University, which is very commendable. And Christ is a very prestigious university, right? So that is very amazing. I'm sending you the invite, Shaurya. Please join. So I was just introducing you, giving your background to the public and the audience here. And as I was saying that she has done a project with government of Haryana last year, right?
Yes.
And she has her own page. Okay. So she has her own page. You should visit her page. And she's nowadays she's also creating memes, right?
I'm
And I
right
mean
now
that is
sharing
something.
memes, but I would love to be in that position when I can be so funny that I can create memes also.
Yeah. So let's just start with this. And would you like to say something to the audience? And would you like to introduce yourself now?
Yes, I would like to say hi, everyone. And I hope you're taking care of yourself and everyone around you. And I also want to say people who say hi to people who are probably seeing me or Jainendra for the first time on an Instagram live. We're so happy you're here. And thank you, Jainendra, for doing this and for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. We really needed this expert advice and suggestions for people on the mental health issue because, I mean, people are getting aware about this, but not that much, I guess. So people also talk about this very less, and very few people share about such things. So that's why we created that portal where people can join and share their thoughts and share their questions, etc. Right? And we have got a lot of questions. We have got around 25, 30 around. So people have shared. Thank you so much for sharing, first of all. And we will surely try to answer your questions. And before diving into mainstream questions, so what was your project with Haryana government and what was that like? Can you explain a bit?
Right. So for about 9 to 10 months, I was working with a government hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
that involved majorly counseling clients and patients who have already been visiting the hospital to take psychiatric and medical help. So the hospital did not actually have a counselor or a counseling psychologist on the board. They had a psychiatrist and a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
But they were looking for someone who could help their patients because in the pandemic, as we all know, even if we were facing some mental health issues or trouble beforehand, in the pandemic, they have more come to the surface now. And we're
Mm-hmm.
more aware, or at least we're trying to be more aware. So, my role there was obviously to help the psychiatrist and the clinical psychologist with everything that they needed. But I was also doing a lot of counseling for everyone who cannot actually, who is visiting a government hospital, is from the rural area, who don't have that
Mm-hmm.
much knowledge about mental health, and who also cannot
Okay.
afford taking help from, let's say, urban counseling centers.
Okay. So, I mean, what was that like? I mean, how many people have you treated
Worked
or
with.
let's say counseled? How many people have you counseled till now?
Now that number is definitely something my university wants to know. I think at the hospital we would have I would visit the hospital 2 to 3 times a week, and every
Okay.
single day we would have about 50 to 55 patients.
Okay. Great.
Now, some of them will obviously need medication and treatment before counseling. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
would need only counseling and not medication, but most of them would need probably a mix of both. where yes, there is psychiatric help going on the side where you're taking your medication, but you're
Right.
also taking therapy or counseling from someone who can help you out. So I think in my span of 9 to 10 months that I worked with them, I would have probably worked with maybe anywhere between 80 to 85 people who would take
Okay.
regular counseling sessions.
Great.
And otherwise, because I have separate clients as well, I have worked with about 35 people till now. So 35 plus 75. No psychology, don't know math. somewhere,
Okay.
somewhere between 110 maybe.
Okay. So a follow-up question on this only.
Yeah.
So इतने सारे patients, इतने सारे counseling sessions, was it hectic for you also? Like emotionally, I guess. How hectic does it get?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I do know that for a lot of us, it gets very hectic. And I think that that's very natural. That's very obvious because when you're talking to people, you're doing some really sensitive work, right? You're
Yeah.
you're dealing with emotions, and I think that that's true for every healthcare professional. So a mental health professional is no less than a gynecologist or a cardiologist, where you're trying to help another person with their life. It can get hectic. It can get emotionally overwhelming as well. But
Mhm.
I feel that maybe because I was trying my best to take care of myself as well, it was not as overwhelming or emotionally draining as it could have been. So it was good, it was different, it was new, it helped me, it still helps me, and it will continue helping me a lot as a person and as a professional. And I actually say that to all my patients and all my clients as well. I make sure to tell them that when if I'm able to help them, they are also helping me. You'll learn a lot.
Okay. So, I mean, what do you think is more important, mental health or physical health?
Both. I
Both.
will give you my preference, but I will still say both because they're
Okay.
very interrelated. So,
Mhm.
mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, it's all very interrelated. And most of it, one will affect the other no matter what. And there is, so even if you, let's say, visit a mental health professional, very few of them will say, it doesn't matter when you're sleeping and when you're waking up. Very few of them will say your diet or your nutrition or your physical health or your exercise does not matter. In fact, this is a very interesting thing. There are so many of us who get irritated when our parents and our grandparents tell us sleep at this time and wake up at this time, or don't
Mhm.
use your mobile phone, etc. They're actually right when they say all of that because we have something which we call the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is basically your body clock, your biological sleep clock, which will tell you sleep as close to sunset and wake up as close to sunrise.
Okay.
When our parents and our grandparents tell us sleep on time, wake up on time, don't use your phone, we start taking offense and we say, you don't know what is mental health, etc. Least realizing that all of that is a very major part of us taking care of ourselves.
Right.
So
So they might
your
not
sleep,
know.
your nutrition, your exercise will matter. Will affect your mental health, and your
Okay.
moods and your state of mind will also affect your physical health. But if I have to pick one, I will say physical health. It's
Okay.
almost impossible for you to take care of your mind if your body does not support you. And your body
Okay.
will support. Let's say if you have a backache, right? For example, and you're not treating the backache. Now, backache is a physical health issue, but if you don't treat it, it will become a mental health issue as well. Same
Right.
goes
Right.
for
Right.
your hormonal imbalance in the body. If you're working out every day or at least a few days a week, your hormones will feel more balanced, which will actually affect your mental health and help you.
Very true. So that would have been my next question. That how can we lead to mental health? Should we start from mental health, then to physical, or physical to mental? So you have answered that also.
It will be
So
both simultaneously.
yeah, exactly. Because without doing physical activities, we won't be able to simulate our brain and our cells. So getting to mental health is a very hectic process sometimes. So what do you think are the signs? I mean, some few signs here and there people should notice that is taking toll on their mental health. So what are those signs which would help you analyze yourself?
Um, I will say there are three things which I've been talking about very often. That is work, relationships, and rest.
Okay.
And the minute you see that, you see or you feel or you observe, and not just you, even people around you, when they see it, that let's say if your work starts getting hampered, you don't feel as energetic, you don't feel as passionate, you're not able to meet your goals, you're not able to dedicate enough time, you're feeling burnt out, that is a good sign. Your relationships, how do you feel in your present relationships, and how much do you want to continue having them or making them healthier, or what do you think of having new relationships? Second important sign. Third sign, rest. Your sleep is getting hampered. You're not able to sleep on time, you're not able to wake up on time. When you're sleeping, you're not sleeping sound, you have continuous breaks, you keep waking up in the middle of the night, or let's say if you want to take a nap in the day, if you're taking a nap, you're either sleeping for many hours at a stretch, or you're not able to bring that rest to yourself either. So I think these three are good topics to start from if a person wants to know more about their mental health.
Okay. So do you think this pandemic and work from home is taking a toll on people, their health?
Some of us.
Definitely on their physical health. I mean, I don't know about the mental health.
Yeah.
It surely is a lot of pressure on people these days, because companies are putting so much pressure of work on them. They are getting out like 12 hours of work from them. So it is taking a toll on their physical health as well as on their mental health. So do you get any questions like that on mental health from lockdown? Like people are getting anxiety or depressed about this, and I mean, tired of working and all. So how does that take to?
Yes and no. I mean, that's a great question, because yes, that is asked very often. In fact, just I think maybe 10 days ago, I made a work from home tips on my post on my page as well. I made a post there. What happens is it depends on what is worse for you, right? For a lot of people, home is not their safe space. For a lot of people, home is not their space to feel happy, feel comfortable, feel safe, feel relaxed, feel rejuvenated. When you start feeling that home is not the best space for you, of course you want to step out. Vis-a-vis people for whom their work is not a safe space, then they would prefer being at home. So it depends on what is better for you, number one. Number two, yes, a work from home can take further toll, because when you're at home, let's say if you're not following the work schedule, which can be, traveling to work. When you step out of home, you wear certain clothes, you wear your shoes, you carry your bag, you step out, your mind is mentally preparing itself that now I'm changing my environment and now I will start working. When you're working at home, the maximum you will do is table, bed, table. Maximum.
Right.
A lot of us don't even do that. We'll work on the
So
bed.
there's no leading up to that workspace, right?
There's no mental preparation. Absolutely. You're right. There's no preparation for your mind. That's one. The second is the boundaries are very blurred, right? Some of us will have children at home. Some of us will have pets at home. Some of us will have elderly to take care of. And sometimes we ourselves are not able to discipline our own routine, our own mindset. When do we want to start working? When do we want to end? So when you say companies are extracting work of 12 hours, that's true. But they are also able to do it because we are doing it.
Right.
To some extent. Of course, there are times when you have to and you don't want to draw that boundary and you may find it difficult. But to a great extent, we're also doing it. So I think it's both ways. It's the corporates and the other organizations, not just corporates, even NGOs, everyone realizing that your mental health is getting affected when you're working at home because you are living at work. And you also realizing that you also have to put a stop on how much can you do and when can you do it. So just because you are at home does not mean that you don't have a family time, you don't have a socialization time, even if it's video calls. I'm not saying step out. But you have to make those boxes in your head. When am I working? When am I resting?
So do you think a checklist or a timetable would help in this case?
Definitely,
right?
Definitely. Set alarms, 8 o'clock I start working, 12 o'clock I take a break, 3 o'clock I take my tea break, I take my lunch break, I take my family time, I take a nap. And this is the time when I stop working completely, even if that means turning off your phone.
Okay. Right. So people take this advice and start making your timetable, your schedule. start with a workout or yoga or meditation in the morning. That really helps. Then you prepare for the day, then you prepare for your job and the work, right? And so we have a question from Kushal. So Kushal is asking that one question: how do you realize you have to come to a certain point when you need professional health advice, and it is not normal up and downs or mood swings?
How do you realize you've come to a certain point when you need professional health? I think the health means help, and
Advice,
it's
yeah,
not, yeah, it's not normal ups and downs or mood swings.
mood swings,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think there is no one size fits all to this answer. The fact
Mm.
that you're asking this question to a great extent does mean that you may be interested in taking professional help. Otherwise, it wouldn't even cross your mind. For a lot of us, what happens is the only time, um, let's equate this to physical health, right?
Mm.
Let's equate this to you having a few sneezes or a few coughs in the day. When do you realize that you need to go to a physician or take an online appointment? Only when you feel you're not able to take care of the cough and the cold yourself now. Only when you feel, what if it's a viral fever? What if it's jaundice? What if it's COVID-19? So similarly, you can always, when you have these doubts in your head, you can always equate them to your physical health and say, am I able to take care of this on my own? There's a very Indian context familial saying, which is dekh lete hain, ruk ke dekhte hain, right? If you're coughing in the morning, you want to wait till the evening to see, is your cough getting better on its own, or is just gargling helping, or is just syrup, cough syrup helping? When you realize it's not, is when it's the right time to visit a professional.
Okay. And any so many people had questions regarding that. I mean, how can they analyze themselves? I mean, people have personally asked me about this. How can they personally analyze themselves? How can they
What
lead
is
up to you?
analyzing yourself? I don't know what that means. You'll
As
have to
in,
explain.
let's say, like Kushal only asked that how do we take a look at this, like when we have to visit a psychologist or not? Because in India, it is, I guess, not very common to visit a psychologist, right? It is not in, I mean, I don't know in a culture or something, but that is the way we work. We take things lightly and we don't take care of our mental health. So that is one question that people were asking, that how should they see that they actually need help. I mean, yeah, you get anxiety, you get depression, but I guess some people cope up with that until and unless it gets to a severe point, to a saturation point. They don't go to a psychologist.
Hmm. So, I'll, from whatever I've understood with about the question, I'll try to answer accordingly. Taking help does not necessarily have to be curative in nature. It can also be preventive. So, while the first example that I gave, right, to understand, are you able to take care of it yourself or not,
Mm.
equating it with your physical health level, where you want to try to take care of it yourself. And if you're not able to, you take professional help. Now, I'll give an example of a preventive structure. A preventive structure would be, for example, going to the gym or taking a yoga class, where if you are already, let's say, unwell, there is a very slim chance that you will go to the gym, right? Even when you go, instructors tell you, if you have a backache, don't do this exercise. If you have a knee problem, don't do this exercise. Similarly, taking help can also be preventive, which is like going to the gym. So you don't feel that there is anything wrong with you or anything which is like an illness per se, but you want to take care of yourself and you want to grow. A gym
Right.
or a yoga is mostly because of you want to take care of your body, right? You may want to look a certain way, you may want to feel healthy. There is something with your, let's say, cholesterol levels, and the doctor has told you that you have to work out now, otherwise it's going to be severe. Similarly with
Yes.
mental health as well, it is you who decides if you want it to be preventive or curative. A mental health professional like a psychologist or a psychiatrist will not send you back if you go to them for a session. They will not say, no, you don't have a problem, bye bye. They will ask you how you feel about your life, how you feel about what is in your mind, what do you feel you want to work on.
Mm.
And then it depends whether you want it to be preventive, like a gym, where you are making sure that you're taking care of your health so that you don't reach that point of saturation. Or if you've
Right.
reached that point of saturation, then it will be curative, like actually taking a medication.
Okay. Right. So, what is the difference? Like yesterday, I was talking to you, and you said there's a difference between clinical psychologist and a counseling psychologist. What is the difference, and how do you counsel people? What should people know and about themselves before coming to you? How do they start? How do they tell you their problems? Right.
Right. So for
I
this, I
know
will
for
answer the
sure.
second part. Sorry,
Hmm?
go ahead.
So I was just saying that I know for sure that there is a privacy between a psychologist and their
Yeah,
patients, right? So
yeah,
people need not worry about that,
yeah,
because many people get insecure if
yeah.
psychologist or someone will tell their story to some of their family members or someone else, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So how do they lead up to you, and what is the difference between counseling and clinical?
Okay. I'll answer the second part first, which was about what do people need to know about themselves before they visit me or any other psychologist.
Hmm.
Actually, nothing. It's absolutely okay to walk into a session with a mental health professional without worrying or thinking about what it is that I should know. There are some clients and patients whom I've had in the past who will ideally, before a session, ask me, do you need me to
Hmm.
do something? Do you need me to read up on something? Or do you need me to, sign something? So every mental health professional has a very different way of working. My way is that before I start sessions with a person, I will always request them to fill in an intake form. In that intake form, in addition to their demographics like their name, age, location, phone number, etc., they will also be
Right.
mentioning um, why do they feel like visiting a therapist. Is there something that's already on their mind that they would like to work on, or is it more of a self-awareness and growth journey wherein they feel like everything's okay, but I want to make sure I'm taking care of my health and I want to make sure I'm in a better position to grow every day. And the
Hmm.
second would be that what are is there something that you wish to achieve through therapy. So a lot of people will say, I just want to know myself better. Some people will say, I want to try to take care of my anxiety. Some people will say, I have something with the family, I want to learn how to draw boundaries, etc. So every person comes in with a different reason.
Perspective, reason.
Yes,
Right.
different reason to visit and a different goal. So do they need to know anything about themselves before they visit me or anyone else? No. The first part, what is the difference between clinical and counseling? So um, this is very chaotic in India, sadly, but this is what happens that for your like undergrad is the same for everyone, but for masters, you can choose what subject in psychology do you want to specialize in. So some people would specialize in a clinical or in a counseling or in an organizational, developmental, environmental, um, military psychology. There are a lot of specializations that you can pick.
Okay.
Forensic as well. There are many. But in India, to be called a clinical psychologist, you need to do one additional degree after your master's in psychology.
Okay.
And that one additional degree you can pick from three different degrees. One is a 1 year diploma. Second
Hmm.
is a 2 year master's in philosophy, which is called your MPhil. And third is a PsyD, which is called your doctorate in psychology. So one is a 1 year degree, second is a 2 year degree, and third is a 4 year degree. These are all RCI affiliated and approved. RCI is Rehabilitation Council of India. So when you do
Yeah.
either one of these, the diploma you'll be called an assistant clinical psychologist, MPhil a clinical psychologist, and a PsyD also a doctor.
Hmm.
When you do any one of these, you become certified to diagnose mental illnesses.
Okay.
Even if you are doing your master's in clinical or counseling, you will be taught mental illnesses, you will be taught mental health disorders, but you will not be given the right to, on a paper, black and white certify that yes, this person is suffering from an ADHD or an OCD or an anxiety disorder or depression, etc. However, to be able to practice counseling and psychotherapy, you can do that after your master's itself. For that, you do not need an additional degree. Now,
Okay.
this is all of the chaos in India. However, in the other countries, it's a little more simplified. Right now, it's chaotic because it's very new for all of us. Psychotherapy as a field in India is very new. It started from
Hmm.
the Europe, it went to the US, now it's coming to India. So there was something in the middle which you said, right? That it's not common for people to visit. It's not common because it's very new in the country.
Right. Okay. So we have understood about the therapy part. We have understood about some of the few light questions. So I guess we don't have that much time. So we should take
Sure.
upon that questions, right?
Sure. Sure.
And I'll start asking you one
Sure.
by one. So the first one is how to stay positive in this stressful environment these days. Doing things like I like being with people. I love nothing, helping, something like that. So
Okay.
do you
I
want me to
think the
repeat it?
person means no, I think the person means that what they used to like doing, those things are not helping them anymore. I think
Yeah.
that's what they mean. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
So, the first line of the question is how to stay positive in these times. Don't. It's absolutely okay to not be positive in a time where everyone is suffering and there is so much uncertainty. Pressurizing ourselves to be happy or positive can actually create more trouble than sitting with the emotion that you are already feeling. So let's say
Okay.
if you don't feel positive, if today you read some news or you get to know of your dear family member, or you are someone who is bearing the sad and suffering consequences of a global pandemic, it is impossible for you to be happy. It is impossible for you to feel like, oh, everything is okay, because nothing is okay. The more
Right.
we understand that our environment and what's happening in the world will obviously affect our feelings, our emotions, our behavior, the more at peace we can be with it. So, an emotion, be it anxiety, be it trouble, be it sadness, I give this example to my clients also a lot. They're like dogs who chase cars. So, if
Mm-hmm.
we are a car and if we are a moving car, then that emotion will continue to chase us and run behind us.
Right.
But the minute we stop our car, the dog will also calm down and just keep standing right next to you. The dog will get bored, the dog will sit down, and then you can go off and drive your car.
Okay. That is something, that is a wonderful example, actually. I never thought it about in this way, actually. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a good example for me also.
So if you're not
So,
feeling positive, it's absolutely okay to feel disheartened or overburdened.
hmm, hmm.
Feel that. Be
Okay.
sit with that emotion for some time. Understand what it's doing to you. After you become aware of how you are feeling, that emotion will continue to start going gradually. And by doing things that you like, that's actually a good way to try to keep yourself as close to reality or as close to normalcy as possible, right? If you are
Okay.
used to that once a week you'll meet your friends, and then
Mm-hmm.
you cannot meet them because of COVID-19, so you do a group video call. That's a great alternative. Maybe it's not
Exactly.
making you as
Yeah.
happy today, but tomorrow gradually it will. So continue to do those things that make you happy or make you peaceful. The more you sit with a sad emotion, the more you will be able to deal with it. Don't be in a hurry to let go. I cannot be sad. I don't want to be sad. Be sad. If you don't be sad, you will not be able to know yourself better. You will not be able to be aware of who you are and what your growth means to you.
Okay. So in a nutshell, we can say that whatever you are feeling, so
Yeah.
you need to soak in, you need to accept, and you need to embrace it.
Yeah.
Right?
Feel your feelings.
Okay. Great. So moving on to the next question. It is how to cope up with the anxiety when it takes a toll, nothing actually helps.
Hmm. I want to ask this person if they have taken professional help yet or not. Because if nothing is helping you, I am assuming that those are things that you have tried on your own self. Like you may have thought that if I'm feeling anxious, I can do X, Y, Z and feel better. So if you feel that those things are not helping you, definitely go visit a professional. I am sure that they will be able to understand you and help you better. However, at the same time, being aware of how you are feeling will also help. So, for example, if you're saying I'm anxious and nothing is helping me, try to write down what all things have you tried to do. Did you try to It will also depend on why you're being anxious, to be honest, right? Now, let's say if you have a job interview or if you're going on a date, some amount of nervousness, no matter what you do, will be there.
Mm.
And that's normal and natural. But if that nervousness exceeds a point where you feel that I can see physiological or biological symptoms as well, right? Some of us may experience excessive sweating. Some of us
Mm.
may experience excessive increase in your heartbeat or sweaty palms. Some of us may feel very cold. Some of us may feel very warm. So if there are physiological and biological signs as well, then you will definitely have to work on the anxiety symptoms, which again, I would say a professional will help you better because I know only one line about this person here. It depends on
Right.
why you are being anxious. Is it only a certain situations or is it all types of situations? And anxiety will always, because I think there are a few more questions about anxiety that I received. So I'll talk about it for
Mm.
one more minute. Dealing with anxiety is always two-way. One is you manage the symptoms. What is a symptom of anxiety? An example of what all I gave you right now, right? Your
Yeah.
nervousness, your body. Second is also eradicating the core problem of anxiety itself.
The
So
root cause.
a lot of, yes, the core cause, the true cause. A lot of people and professionals will sometimes work on the symptoms first and later on the core issue. Some people will work on the core issue and later on the symptoms, and some people will work on them together. So maybe that this person also who's asked this question, maybe they are also working on the symptoms and not on the core issue. The core issue will
Yeah.
obviously take longer because you have to experience why is it happening, when is it happening, how is it making you feel, what can you do about it. Whereas managing the symptoms is more easy. And for anyone who's anxious, I will say the best way is deep breathing because it's involving both your mind and your body. And even if you do it for 5 minutes, you will suddenly feel a great drop in the levels of your anxiousness.
Great. So anyone feeling any kind of anxiety right now, apart from me, can breathe. So, okay, let's move on to the next. So it is that how to deal with body image issue when you are constantly getting commented by your family and friends.
Set boundaries. Set boundaries and tell people how you feel. Tell people that you don't allow them to make comments about your body. Now, this is again dealing with the symptom, right? As I said, every problem has two ways of dealing with it.
Right.
So, set boundaries. Tell people that you do not allow them to speak with you in a certain way. Tell people that you feel disrespected when they comment about your body or your appearance or your dressing or your anything. That's the
Right.
first major thing to reduce the symptoms because the person in the question has mentioned they keep commenting. The second will be the core issue, which is your body acceptance, which is knowing that this is who I am, this is how I am, and then I can choose how I want to work on my body. No, not body, but how can I work on my self growth if at all I want to. Let's say you are the one who feels I will feel better if I go for a walk every day, then do that. If you feel I will feel better if once a week I do a yoga class, an online yoga class, or if once a week I prepare a home cooked meal for myself, all these are ways of nourishing your body. They are ways of loving your body or getting an 8 hour sleep every night. This is the best way that you can nourish yourself, your mind, your body. So, small things, they will help you accept yourself a little more. But the first thing will be to draw boundaries with whoever tells you that you don't look good or whoever comments on your body. Nobody can have that right to tell you how you are and how you look.
Right. So I guess there's a lot to do about body shaming and this beauty standards and all. So it
Definitely.
is a lot is coming from social media and
Definitely.
entertainment industry. So
Definitely.
it is like they're setting standards for everything when there is nothing at all. So everyone is beautiful. Everyone is has their own body, has their own way of doing things, and everyone should actually love themselves. Like
And we all
my
have
friend,
different body structures, right? A
yeah,
person from India will have a different body structure than a person from Australia or from the US. We have different
right,
genes. We have different
exactly,
environments. My hair will be black, their hair will be blonde. That's okay.
exactly. So next question is what to pursue in order to become a psychologist and mental therapist. So it is someone who wants to get in your field.
Right. A master's in psychology is a good starter. And if you're very sure that you want to pursue psychotherapy and counseling, then definitely specialize in counseling psychology. That will help. A master's in psychology is the bare minimum requirement. After that, there's nothing stopping you. You can continue to do your multiple types of diplomas, multiple trainings. You can go ahead to pursue clinical psychology if you want to. But what do I
Hmm.
do to pursue therapy, or if I want to be a therapist? A master's in psychology is the basic bare minimum that you have to do. After that, it depends on what you are interested in.
Okay. What are some colleges for that? Some good colleges, if you can suggest two or three.
No, I can't
No.
suggest. No, I think the internet and career counselors will be better people to talk about it, if that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's move on. So next one is I find it difficult to reach out to my friends, family when I'm going through a breakdown. Is there any way to make the communication easier?
Hmm. If the person finds it difficult to reach out to them, maybe reaching out to a professional might sound a little more simple at that time, because a professional is a stranger. When you talk of
Right.
family and friends, they are people whom you know and they also know you. So, a lot of times there is a fear of judgment. There is
Right.
also a barrier of, will this person think I can't take care of myself? Will they feel I am not worthy enough? Will they feel I am weak? Whereas when a professional sees you, they will see you with, hopefully, if they're a good professional, they will see you with an unbiased and non judgmental lens. So they will always look at you being just another human than someone who knows you, which is also a reason why your therapist or your psychologist is not anybody whom you personally know, and that your therapist or psychologist cannot become your friend or your coworker, colleague, etc., because that's the beauty of healing within a relationship. What heals you and what helps you grow with a mental health professional is not any technique that they would apply, but the relationship that you develop with that person, where you feel safe, where you feel heard, where you feel understood. And in those sessions, in those few or multiple sessions, you practice how to be your real and authentic self. Because when you go into that session, you are exactly who you are, or at least gradually you become who you want to be. When
Exactly.
you start practicing that every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever your frequency is, then in the rest of your life also you start to replicate it. You start to be more genuine and authentic to yourself. If that happens, then there are very less chances that you will feel that I cannot reach out to my friends and family. Because hopefully, the relationship with the professional and understanding why you can't reach out to them, whether it's a fear of judgment or, even if, let's say, the people are not very approachable, it doesn't only have to be your fear. It can be that the other person doesn't want to listen to me. So probably
Okay.
knowing why I can't reach out to them, and can I reach out to someone else with whom I can understand, is a good way to break the barriers with the family and the friends.
Okay. Great. So it is very difficult to even see such questions, and I mean, people have a lot of things going on with them.
Right, right. Life is complex, and we as humans are very complex and messy and imperfect, all of us. So we will always have
Yeah,
something or the other going on.
exactly. I mean, I guess the main thing and the main part is to just embrace it first, accept it. Okay, so let's move on to the next question before I get. Okay, at times the environment at my home becomes mentally exhausting. Any tips to handle this situation?
Set boundaries again. um, if there is anything that's making you uncomfortable, gradually you will have to be at a point. What is this comment on the comment box?
I
Yeah, I
Nistaronika,
don't know.
no.
Can we block this? It's distracting me now.
Okay,
Anyway,
let me turn off.
so
Okay.
no, don't turn it off. It's fine. Um, I think I get distracted easily. Anyway, so if there is something at home which is making you feel uncomfortable, if not now, maybe with proper help, maybe with time, you will have to come to a place where you can tell that I am the one who has to help myself, especially as an adult. As a child, it's absolutely okay to feel helpless because you're a child. You don't have the resources, you don't have the knowledge, you don't even have the place in your family that you can say something. However, as an adult, it's very normal to feel that I don't like it, that my family environment is such, or that my parents or my siblings or my husband or my child are not listening to me. So it's absolutely okay to tell them how you feel.
Communicate.
Absolutely. A lot of times we stop ourselves from telling people something because we assume that this is what they will say, this is how they will feel. And yes, maybe the first time, maybe the second time they do that, and then you tell
Hmm.
yourself, ha, mujhe to pata tha, I knew this is what they will say. You gotta be consistent. And
Okay.
a good phrase for that would be, let's say, Janendra, if you are my family member, I can say, Janendra, I don't like it when you say XYZ. Janendra, I don't like it when you do XYZ. Janendra, I'm not comfortable with you commenting on my appearance. Janendra, I'm not comfortable if you comment on my career.
Hmm.
Gradually, you make that change where you tell the other person or you tell the entire family that you are a human, you're an individual, and your choices can differ from those of them. You don't, two family members don't always have to agree with each other. That's okay. But two family members ideally should always respect each other. So, even starting like Janendra, I have something to talk to you about. Do you have the time? Do you have the bandwidth to listen to me? I have been going through something very difficult at my workplace and I thought I can discuss it with you. When would be a good time? So I am giving you also the option to tell me, right? I'm not bombarding you that you are working or you're in the middle of something and
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, listen to me right now. No,
Yeah, that
ask
won't
them for
work.
their, absolutely, ask them for their permission. Ask them when are they free? When is their mental bandwidth okay? What if two people are struggling together? Then
Hmm.
they, at that point in time, maybe they are not in a position to help each other, if two siblings or a husband and wife or a girlfriend boy, anyone. So at that point it's important to know that while I am struggling, the other person is also struggling. But where we lack is we don't tell that to each other. So we just assume the other
Communication.
person is fine and I am the one who's having all the problem.
Yeah, so communication is a big issue. I guess the upbringing we have in Indian families, it is just like कोई बात नहीं तू बहादुर है कोई बात नहीं अरे हो जाएगा ठीक it is okay deal it's like deal with it yourself do it yourself wala hisab every time, right? So it gets kind of difficult to break that wall and lead up to the communication part with your
It's
parents,
difficult
but at
because it's
sometimes you
time
have to do.
taking. It's
Yeah,
difficult because it is time taking and a
for
lot
both
of
the parties.
times. Absolutely, absolutely. See,
For both the
if
parties.
you are a 20-year-old, 30-year-old
Mhm.
adult, right? If you're talking to your parent, see how
Mhm.
much difficult it is for you to take care of all those 20, 30 years of listening, to some extent conditioning, to some extent being told this is how things are. So if your parents are 50, 60, 70, how difficult would it be for them? What
Exactly.
you have to do is stay in the process. Don't say this will not happen. Don't say this cannot happen. Be ready to invest that kind of time and energy. If you really want to see something, you will have to do it, right? A marathon runner did not become a marathon runner overnight. They had years of practice. So if you're ready to give in that time, that type of time, effort, and maybe even money to a therapist, then it's fine. If you're okay to do that, then from the other party the change will be gradual, but we can't deny that it will not happen. It is very
Mm.
time taking, it can be painful, it can be difficult, it can also be messy. Today you may feel, wow, I have a great relationship with my parents. Tomorrow again they will say something to you and you'll be like, ha, what was the point? And then
Mm.
you feel like you feel weak again, or you feel like it wasn't worth it. Consistency.
Yeah, consistency, small steps, baby steps,
Small steps.
and plot little things in their mind to lead up to that main thing.
I
So
don't know
that
about
might help.
that.
I mean,
But yes,
I think
gradually
that helps with
sensitizing them.
me.
Yeah.
Just like
Gradually
when you have to go to a trip. Yeah. So like an example, just when you have to ask for a trip and ask for money, you plot little things, you do little things for them. You start with that. Then you lead up to your question, right?
Do
To
you
your
do
main
things
goal.
for them or do you do things for yourself?
For them, basically, so that you can go out.
Oh, so you're trying to make them happy and then they're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is a
exactly.
nice child. And
Like that. So you have to lead up to that communication. You have to do a lot of things.
But that's temporary. That is
Yeah.
never that is again managing the symptom. That may not be managing the core issue. The core issue might be something like our child cannot tell us what to do. We will tell the child what is right. That may be the core issue. Or if we don't want our child to go for a trip, the core issue may not be that the trip is a problem. The core issue may be what if they have an accident there, or what if they go and do something which is embarrassing for us? What if they hurt themselves, they hurt someone else, whatever. So while I understand where you're coming from, and all of us have to try to do something or the other to, work with our families, at the same time, symptom reduction and being on the core problem, that also has to be worked up, because maybe once they are saying, okay, this is a good child, they can go on the trip, but the second time,
Yeah. So you have to make them feel that you're responsible, that you're doing what you want
you have
to.
to ask them very clearly, what are you afraid of? What about the trip, or what about me going on the trip makes you feel uncomfortable? Sometimes they will not tell you the truth, but eventually they will. Maybe today
Exactly.
they'll say a financial constraint, tomorrow they will say what if there is a landslide, but the third time they will tell you what their actual reason is.
Hmm.
Then maybe you can
Okay.
understand what that is and try to look at things from their lens, they look at things from your lens, and come to a conclusion which may be okay for both the people.
Right. That is a good suggestion. Okay. So we have a question from Anjali Shrivastava. How to deal with unexpected breakup?
I think everything in life is very unexpected. So I would say a breakup is very similar to you losing a job. It is also very similar to you going through a traumatic experience that you were not ready for. It will also be something that initially will make you question your own self. And the feelings that you have with a breakup is very similar to me giving that dog example, right? That the feelings that start coming in when you don't have a romantic partner in your life anymore, or that particular romantic partner, you will again
Mhm.
feel maybe shattered to some extent, upset. You may question your own worth. You may also feel, what did I do which was not enough? You may also feel that the other person cheated on me or ditched me, etc. The more you sit with those feelings, the better it is for you to process them. Now, this is obviously easier said than done, because, like everything else, this is a time taking process. But what happens is we want to accelerate the time. Now, let's say if someone has a breakup today, they want to be absolutely okay, up and running tomorrow. They want to feel like nothing happened. If not tomorrow, within a week, right? And if not
Yeah.
them, their friends will come and say, oh, it's been a week. Why are you still upset? Why are you
Hmm.
still mourning? Why are you still grieving? And that one phase move on will actually stop the other person from moving on. Grieving a relationship, grieving the loss of someone, you can grieve loss of people even who are alive. It doesn't actually have to be someone who is no longer in the world. So being able to say, this is what happened, this is why I really liked the person, or I still like the person, this is what went well in the relationship, this is what did not go well in the relationship, this is why a breakup happened. And it's absolutely okay for me to grieve the loss. It's absolutely okay if I want to take time to cry, if I want to take time to exercise, if I want to take time to take therapy, if I want to stay single for a while, or if I want to date other people for a while, whatever it is, take that time that you need and keep experimenting with things that make you feel better. Today, yoga will make you feel better. Tomorrow, ice cream will make you feel better.
Yeah.
Mental health is very fluid. So you'll not feel the same thing, but you can allow yourself to feel what you are feeling.
Great. So I guess, do you think doing different things, adopting different hobbies, right? It helps stimulating your brain.
It helps
making
in
more folds, stimulating your brain cells and nerve
right.
system, making more folds in your brain, activating different parts of your brain. When you try different activities, you learn something.
Definitely. For example, how we were talking about exercise, right?
Yeah.
So if you do something that you like, let's say if someone really likes to trek or really likes to travel or climb mountains, it will definitely give them a sense of satisfaction. It will give them a sense of achievement, some peace, some happiness. And that is all coming from the hormones and chemicals being released in your brain, which to some extent is psychiatry, to some extent is neurology. When that happens, it will have a very direct impact on your feelings about yourself and about the rest of the world. You know how
Okay.
if someone likes to, let's say, do cycling, the minute they are back from a 10-kilometer ride, they will be the happiest person that you can ever meet. They would want to share pictures with everyone. They want to go out and reward themselves, have a treat. All of that is definitely because they did something that they wanted, but also because the mind body connection, the mind body stimulation made them more energetic, got them to be more active, got them to feel that they want to now try out next thing. So if today I was happy after a 10-kilometer bike ride, tomorrow I will say, oh, let me do 20.
Mm.
That's true for both the things, negative as well as positive. Let's say alcohol. Today, 2 drinks made me happy. Tomorrow I would want 4.
Right.
So yes, brain cells do get stimulated. Your entire body and mind will get stimulated, which is why people talk of yoga, the best mind-body connection that there is.
Okay. And I hope, Anjali, we have answered your question and we are moving on to the next one. So there's one question that how to support your friends struggling with their mental health when you yourself are not fine mentally.
Can Okay, the internet got blurred. Can you see me? Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay. So
So
to answer that question, yeah, I heard the question. If you're yourself not mentally okay, you cannot help another person, at least not to the extent that you would like to. You have to follow instructions that they give on an airplane, right? Wear your oxygen mask before you give it to someone else. If you're not okay, you may actually just end up getting further exhausted, further drained, further burnt out while you're trying to help someone else. Accept in that moment that you will not be able to the extent that you would like. That's number one. Number two, you can always be communicative with them and tell them how we were talking of that example about 30 minutes ago, right? That if two
yeah.
people are struggling together, they will not be able to. So you can always tell let's say if the other person reaches out to you can tell them, I want to help you. I want to be there for you. But right now, I'm going through something of my own. Is there any other way that I can support you? Maybe, you can have some groceries delivered to their house. Maybe you can do a short video call with them. Maybe you can give them
Yeah.
phone numbers of some mental health professionals or physical health professionals. Or maybe you can tell them that today I am not okay to talk, but I will talk to you tomorrow. Or you can tell them that what I'm going through right now will take a few weeks for me. So can we connect at another time? And be honest with them. Tell them you're going through something of your own.
Okay.
Also ask them how else can you help them. Like, for example, you can say, I can't talk to you on the phone for a long time right now, but is there any other way that you may feel supported?
All right. So another question is, it is quite interesting. Any tips for talking to your teenage sibling to understand their problems and create awareness for mental health? It's a good one.
So the problem with teenagers, no, not a problem. What happens with teenagers is that they are in a phase of a lot of confusion and a lot of uncertainty. You're neither a child nor are you an adult, so you don't know what's happening with you, and the people around you also don't know what's happening with you. The
Yeah.
best way is to have as normal a communication as you can. If you are a family member, talk to them like a friend. Talk to them like someone who actually wants to enter into their world and understand what is happening with them. Try to imagine them as a fish in the water and you are a person outside the water. But to understand what's happening with the fish, you may have to go inside the water for some time. You may have to be in the same environment. You may have to see how the water feels on your body. You may have
Hmm.
to try to find how, as a big fish, you have to hunt for food for maybe seeds or a small fish. So for some time, be with them and empathize with them. Ask them, how is your day going? How are you feeling about school? How are you feeling about homework? Is something in the household or something in the school or in your school bus, anything that might be bothering you? Now there's a pandemic. How do you feel about online learning? Are you comfortable
Hmm.
with your teachers? Do you ever feel like reaching out to your school counselor or any other help? So talk to a teenage in their language, and for you it will be easier because you have been a teenager at some point. If you're an adult, you know that that's a very uncertain and a confusing state for you, and
Hmm.
so it will be for your sibling as well. Be a friend to them and tell them that you're ready to hear anything that they want to tell you, and you will not judge them. You will not go and tell the parents. You will not go and tell their teachers. The more safe they feel with you, the more they will open up. And about the
Okay.
mental health awareness part, you can definitely tell them that this is what mental health is, this is what the concept. If you are going through something yourself, tell them that. If you are visiting a psychologist, tell them that I visit a psychologist. That will give them more space and more platform to be able to tell you if they would like help, whether help from you or from a professional.
Okay. Right. So I guess I have to implement that too with my cousins. Need to make them aware about mental health. So this is a rather easy one. Book recommendations for psychology enthusiasts.
I made a post on my profile 3 days ago.
Okay.
So you can visit my page, and there is a post that says book recommendations by the community. So those are
Okay.
books that people who are on my page suggested and recommended for other people. So I think there is a list of 15 books, and I will be making a post again next week. So that should help.
Great. Great. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. What are the symptoms of anxiety and how to deal with it? Because I often experience tremors in my hands, shortness of breath, easily end up crying when nothing is happening or nothing has happened yet.
There are multiple symptoms of anxiety, and every single person will face or struggle or understand anxiety in very different ways. One person may start feeling very hot, very warm. One person may start feeling very cold.
Hmm.
One person may not want to talk at all and may actually close down, shut down, keep quiet. The other person will start talking very continuously in a high pace. So symptoms of anxiety varies. Even in a very clinical setup, anxiety disorder has multiple layers and multiple types. So I will not today at an Instagram live and on social media, I will be doing injustice to mental health if I actually start listing the symptoms. But when you say that I have tremors, and when you say I have tried so many things and nothing is working out, I would definitely say visit a professional. Again, there will be two things. One will be the symptom reduction, as we talked about earlier, wherein you're working on the shortness of breath, the rise in heartbeat, sweating, etc. Even stomach aches, to some extent vomiting, loose motions, feeling very nauseous, not being able to sleep in the night. All of these are symptoms of anxiety. But how you reduce symptoms and how you reach the core issue of what's making you anxious will be better dealt with while you are in person with a professional.
Okay. Fine. So that's, I mean, Godspeed, and please take care of yourself, whoever that person was. And we'll try to answer your questions as well as we can. But let's see, we have few minutes left now. So next one is that how do mental health professionals take care of their mental health? Hats off to all mental health professionals for helping people out.
Uh, Thank you for that question and thank you for the compliment. So I think that holds true for everyone here also on this live who may be a mental health practitioner. I think how mental health professionals take care of their mental health is exactly how any other person would. So we would go to therapy, we would work out, we would try to meditate, we would try to eat healthy, we would try to sleep on time, we would try to be more self-aware, try to grow however we can. We will try
Mm.
to have healthy relationships. We would try to set boundaries wherever it's not working out. And we would try to know that everything in life is a journey and not a destination. So it is absolutely okay to feel what you are feeling today. And it's absolutely okay to feel something completely different tomorrow, because mental health is fluid. Humans are complex, and then so is healing. Um, if I talk about myself, I would say again the same things. I would go to therapy. I would try to walk whenever I can. I would try to work out. I would try to practice some deep breathing, try to stay hydrated, have healthy relationships, be more aware of who you are and how would you like your life to be.
Okay. So yeah, correctly said, because I've heard that statement from our corporate coach also. So he said that life is not a destination, it is a scavenger hunt. So you have to go find out different things, do different things in order to reach to a certain point. But
Yeah,
also you have to enjoy the process.
a very difficult Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to enjoy the process wherever you are, whatever you are doing. It is not just about money or fame or anything. Although I won't comment on that. Money is important, everything is important. But I just believe that enjoying the process of everything you do is very important. Because if you try to find happiness in moments or small things, that also works. But not restrict yourself that if I achieve this, then only I'll be happy. So enjoy the whole thing, I guess. That really helps you a lot. Okay. Oh my God. There's a bad one. So how to prevent not getting suicidal thoughts.
I will not say it's a bad one. How to prevent? I would say by taking care of your mental and physical health, and by having healthy relationships, by being more aware and looking at growth. Whenever we talk of a preventive mental health care model or a preventive mental health care reason or a support system, your support system will always be what you're doing for yourself and the kind of relationships that you have. So when you're saying how to prevent a suicidal ideation or a suicidal thought, the fact that this question has come up, this is more curative than preventive. So, whoever this person is, I hope you're here on this call right now, and I hope that you take all the help that you need, because there are professionals who will help you. I'm sure that there are other people also who can. Um, but prevention of anything which is closely, even a little close to self harm or harm to other people, will be taking professional help for your mental health and maybe even your physical health. That depends on where this question is coming from.
Hmm.
But anytime that there is ever a conversation of self harm, the first thing that you do is a psychological first aid, and that starts from you being with a professional, whether it is a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It is absolutely wonderful that we have that kind of help now, not as much as we would have liked, not in sync with our number of population in the
Mhm.
country, but definitely we have people who will help out, and I hope that this person does take help.
Yes, right. Please take help. Talk to us or talk to her. If you want, you can visit her page. You can DM her, and she will surely help you. And apart from these questions, there are some light ones we can end with, right? So, what is the impact of social media on mental well-being?
The impact of social media on mental well-being is as
Very
much
broad subject,
as
but
you let it. Yeah, the impact is as much as you let it be. So the impact can be both positive, negative, and neutral. Now let's say if we talk of people whom you know, whom you might be following on social media, and they might be following you,
hmm,
there can definitely be a level of insecurity, stress, and jealousy, right? This person went to a vacation, I didn't. This person's romantic partner does this for them, and mine doesn't. This person has a dog or a baby or a cat or a great house, and I don't. Now, that may come from an insecurity, which was anyway deep buried, but got more surfaced because now you're seeing something every day with your thumb just scrolling sometimes mindlessly. At the same time, it can also have a positive impact depending on I saw this person did something beautiful, or did something very courageous, or did something very inspirational, and I want to do that too. If not today, maybe gradually. So the impact can be both ways and is mostly um, of how you let it be. So social media is just something that helps you realize it and be more aware, because it will bring it to the surface. But otherwise, those things always anyway existed. So it doesn't really have to be social media which will tell you to be insecure of another person, or jealous of another person, or start opposing one particular political party, start opposing one particular brand, or a racism, or anything like that. It just probably brings it more clearly to you, and is addictive. Social media is addictive. So that I
Very.
think we all need to be more aware and conscious about.
Yeah, I mean, you should all take a break from social media sometimes. I took a break in lockdown from March to August. I was not on any social media platform at all. I was just learning things. I was just investing on myself and my skills, and working out, doing daily stuff, had a routine to follow. That really helped me in the lockdown, right? So if you can make a timetable, make a schedule, try to stick to it. I know sometimes you can't, but try to stick to it. That really helps in whatever the situation is. And also it helps you being very productive. So on a lighter note, what movies can you suggest?
For
Series, movies for psychology, anything. So he has asked that what kind of movies can you suggest? TV series or book suggestions that will help people understanding themselves better.
Oh, every movie and every book will help you understand yourself better, because everything that you watch, every place that you are, every person you talk to, everything you read will help you see how you are feeling about that situation or that person. The more
Okay.
you are aware of how you are feeling, let's say if you're watching something which is comedy, how are you feeling about around it versus how do you feel when you're watching horror, or how are you feeling watching a documentary versus a romantic movie. So how to know about yourself, I think every movie and every book will help you, because it will generate some kind of emotion, it will generate some kind of feelings. If you're reading something that you don't know what it means, or if you're reading something which is totally different from what your profession is, you might actually want to read more about it if that interests you. So when you see, okay, did forensic interest me more, or did English history interest me more, you know more about yourself. Everything that you do and everything that you read and watch is a great way.
All right. So I think that is it for all the questions. I guess we have answered all of it. Uh, so there were a few questions which were repeated, but yeah. So I guess we have answered all of it and most of it. And I believe people got some support, some kind of help from this. And I would like to extend my thanks to you, a warm, warm thanks, a very thank you, a big thank you to you for joining in and sharing such insight on mental health and everything.
Thank you,
And
Janendra, for having me. I think this is a great topic that we picked up today, and if we were able to help out even one person, then it's wonderful.
yeah, and if people you think you haven't been answered, your questions were not answered, you can always visit her page, right? That is Therapy with Shaurya, and you can ask her directly. She will surely help you,
So
right? And she,
every Monday I do a question answer round. So a few minutes back we talked of DMs. I don't check my DMs and I don't reply to
okay.
them. But every Monday on my stories I do a question answer round,
Hmm.
wherein I try to answer as many as I can. So if there was something that you felt was mental health or psychology related and I couldn't pick it up, we couldn't pick it up today, then tomorrow hopefully I will be doing one, and I do that every Monday. So you can
Okay.
ask your question there, and I would feel honored to help you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining, Shaurya.
Thank you, Jainendra. Have a good
Would
Sunday and
really
a good week ahead.
same to you. Same to you. And I
Thank
would
you.
really like to meet you and do another session on the same thing.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we'll do a more technical one, or let's say we can pick up a case study or something, so
Sure.
people can understand a particular thing about something on mental health,
Definitely. Thank you
right?
everyone for joining in, and we will see you all soon. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, people.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a great day. So that was Shaurya, and we will be coming up with more podcast on finance. We'll be coming up on entrepreneurs. We will be coming up with mental health. Also, we will be coming up with music one. So there's a guy who told his story about music industry and everything else. What goes in it, what comes out, how do you have certain things in that industry, what works and what doesn't. So that is also a good one, right? So keep in touch, stay safe, video call your friends, try new things. This week you can try something new, something, adopt a new hobby, maybe do something. Just something new will always do good to your brain, to your health, to your body. Thank you so much, and signing out. Have a great day, people.